So in the Yoga Sutra, there's a lot about this as well. So the in the yamas, the kind of societal moral codes that we can observe, we have all of the yamas. So ahimsa, nonviolence; satya, truthfulness; asteya, non-stealing; brahmacharya, the wise use of our energy; and then aparigraha, the non-covet, like non-greed, not coveting, not grasping. Um, so when you think of all of these yamas, one of the things that happens is that when we cultivate them, we cultivate the field of their opposite in our presence. So, for instance, this sense of generosity and gifting culture that we might be able to practice. So if we look at the yamas of not stealing and not hoarding, not grasping, these two in particular, if the opposite of those, right, is this feeling of generosity, and that when we can offer our gifts freely, we actually live in the field of generosity. And this is what the sutra really talks about, that yes, it is about specific actions, that we are serious about taking very specific actions of well-being for ourselves and others, these moral codes of the yamas. But really what it does is that it removes that which is not our true nature. Um, our true nature is generous, and we kind of get caught up in the ways of our mind and the ways of our experiences where we forget that, and we feel like we need to hoard and steal and bring things close to us and guard. But when we release that, when we really focus on the yamas, and we offer ourselves freely, all that really happens is we attract generosity to us. So Robin Wall Kilmer talks about the flow of gifts, that there has to be movement in your generosity, that some of the traditions of her culture is this idea of potlatches, where when something beautiful and good happens to you in your life, you celebrate by giving to other people, and that the next time a potlatch comes around, that same gift that you offered to somebody else now gets brought into the offering again. And so things are just passed, that wealth and prosperity are past, and they are in flow. They're not something that I now, reached the zenith and got this thing and I'm going to hold it tight and never let it go. But really to let the sand move through your fingers and offer it to others. So when we cultivate this, we allow ourselves to live in the field of generosity, and the sisters of generosity are gratitude and connection. So when we think about what it feels like in our hearts to be very generous, think about it. When you are generous, when you offer yourself freely, you become connected to whoever you're offering to. There's relationship building, there's web building, there's a sense of belonging, there's a sense of deep sense of connection with other people. And then also, we are just filled with gratitude. It's a spontaneous response to generosity. So when these three things kind of work together, feeling very generous, feeling very connected to your world and to each other, and then feeling very grateful, what could be more? What could we want more of? I mean, this is just the greatest gift to have, to be in the field of these experiences. So when you feel fear, and when you feel a sense of, I have to guard what I have, or I want what somebody else has, see if you can just stop yourself in your tracks and recognize that this is a response of the ego, and it's a response of conditioned fear and conditioned culturing, that we need more, that we have to hold on to what we have. So instead, when you feel those things, see if you can pause and breathe and let the breath teach you just this beautiful act of giving and receiving, that it's inherent in the prana flow that we take in, our basic needs. our breath is a pure example of this flow of generosity. So when you feel stuck in hoarding or greed or mine, not yours, or I want what you have, see if you can just stop and breathe and marvel at the gifts that are all around you. Okay, so let's go ahead and sit for a moment and find a comfortable seat and see what it feels like to have this length of your spine and a sense of ease across your heart space. And dropping your shoulders and feeling a sense of freedom come into your body and breath. And let's see if we can pay attention to our breathing and sense this pranic generosity, that energy is always there, that it's constantly renewing, that there is nothing created or destroyed, just changed. So if there's this abundance of energy, can you allow yourself to both receive and to give, to have the sense of a flow of movement through your body? Sometimes we even want to grasp and hoard the breath. So remember that transition between the inhale and the exhale, and see if you can, instead of holding the transitions, see if you can just let a feeling of flow. That when we reverse from in to out, and when we reverse from out to in, that there's just a seamless transition, that there's nothing that you have to jump over, there's nothing that you have to guard. Okay. And as we feel our way into the breath, you can place your hands in a mudra of your choice. And let's use the breath as the intention building, that, we often set an intention in the beginning of our practice. See if whatever you're intending can have a sense of this pranic flow. Maybe it's healing that you need in your body. Maybe it's just whatever it is, whatever your intention is. See if you can let the breath give it a sense of flow. Bring your hands together to kind of offer the focus of this intention. And release your hands. And as we practice, as always, see if you can stay connected to the rhythm of your breathing as much as you can. So we have that sense that we are in flow constantly, that there's nothing to guard or hold or grasp. All right, so as you lie down on your back, let's stretch our arms overhead and go ahead and feel your way into this reaching in your body. Maybe stretch one side, then stretch the other, and just enjoy the feeling of mobility. A full breath in, full breath out. Stay connected to your breath. We'll bring our knees into our chest and rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. All And then hang on to the knees and let's circle. And maybe just notice in your mind, in what ways do you block this flow of generosity, both in the giving and in the receiving? Is there anything that you don't allow in? Is there anything that you don't allow out? Right? Are you stuck in some way? Just kind of pay attention to how the subtleties of Asteya and Aparigraha, those are the Yamas, of non-stealing and non-hoarding, how do they show up in your life? And then let's open up our knees away from the middle, bring them back in toward the middle. Just enjoy the mobility of your hip joints. And then right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and let's move around in your feet. All right, so wiggle through your toes, roll around in your ankles, feel a good sense of compression in your knee and your hip. And then we'll cross that right knee over to the left and stretch open to a twist and enjoy the open heart. Be mindful to let your head rest down. There's nothing to pick up, there's nothing to hold. Can you surrender a little bit into the pose? And then come back, bring that knee into the chest. Pick up your head, a snug hug onto that knee, and then release your head down. Place your left foot onto the ground. Grab onto your right foot, a half happy baby here. See if you can just drop that knee down toward the ground. And then we'll cross that right foot over to the left knee and come into a reverse pigeon. So grab back of your thigh or the front of your shin and feel free to have mobilization in this. You can rock left to right or do some circling with your hip. Just see what feels mobilizing for the hip joint. All right, and then release that and stretch to a star on the ground, limbs wide. Let's roll our wrists and our ankles here, and then draw your knees into your chest and round the spine. Okay, keep your left knee and right leg long on the ground. Keep moving your feet. Wiggle those toes. Wake up all the ankle mobility that you can. Keeping our feet and ankles mobile and free, so important. Rest your head. Cross the left knee over to the right and notice your breath. Pay attention to how the flow of your inhale and the flow of your exhale is moving through you. All right, and then come back to center. Bring that knee into the chest. Bend your right knee, put your foot on the ground, grab onto your left foot, and come to half happy baby pose. A nice gentleness through your hips, so keep that right knee bent so that you're not overdoing the stretch of your hip flexor just yet. Just getting into the hip joint here. And then we'll cross the left foot over to the right and find your way into your variation of a reverse pigeon. So you could hold the back of your leg, the front of your shin. You can hold one hand on your knee, one hand on your other knee. Just see what feels good to you and any mobilization that you want. How's the breath? Okay. And then release that one more time, a star on the ground, limbs really wide open, roll your wrists and your fingers. Deep breath in, exhale, knees into your chest, head comes up, and then put your head down, grab your feet, and come to a happy baby pose. Opening up your spine a little bit now, your low back, feel free to rock left and right. Finding breath. All right, and then put your feet down onto the ground, arms out to the side. Let's windshield wiper our knees, left and right. Feel free to turn your head in opposition of your knees. How's your breathing? All right, and then pause here for a moment. Ground through your feet, arms down at your sides. We're going to do a little bit of pelvic movement here. So we're going to come to a bridge, but in a weird way. So we're going to lift our right hip up first, followed by your left, right hip down, followed by your left. So you're getting a little swirl in the pelvis along with the lifting. So just a few passes of moving with the right hip as the leader, the left hip as the follower. Letting this just kind of loosen the low back a little bit. All right, and then rest your pelvis down onto the ground. Feel your feet grounding into the earth. How's your breath? Then we'll switch, and the left hip will be the leader. Follow lifting the right, and then drop the left hip down, followed by the right. So our pelvis is not symmetrical. We're moving asymmetrically here, just kind of sensing into the two halves of your pelvis. How's your breathing as you're lifting and lowering? And then relax. Take Baddha Konasana for a moment. Feet together, knees release out toward the sides. And of course, wedge a block under there if you need. And just take a moment to feel your hips and let go. See if you can release any tension through your glutes, through your hips. And then notice from the inside, the feeling state on the inside, if one hip is dropped lower or one knee is dropped lower than the other. And then take your hands behind your head. Keep nice and relaxed in your core and in your legs. Just melt all you can. Use your hands to lift your head and look at your knees and see if your inner perception matches your outer state. So, for me, I feel a significant difference. Like my left is dropped way lower than my right. But when I look at it, it is off a little bit, but not nearly to the state that my mind thinks it is. And then bring slowly your legs back to center, knees together, feet apart. Feel a little bit of internal rotation in the hip joints. Just relax here for a moment. Release any tension that you might have built up in your pelvis. All right, ground your feet one more time. And this time we'll try to lift everything symmetrically. So pelvis up, arms up overhead. Use your breath. And then as we exhale, we'll lower our pelvis and our arms down. Twice more. Feeling the lift through your hips, arms overhead, and then slowly lower your legs and your arms down. And one more time. How's that freedom movement in your breath going? And then release. Windshield wiper your knees one last time before we move out of this pose. All right, and then we'll roll to our side and come up to your hands and your knees. As you find all fours, take some time here, moving through your vertebrae, enlivening your spine with the breath. And then feel free to move around any way you want. What's the action that your body's craving? Maybe it's tail wagging, maybe it's some circling, maybe it's a child's pose. Just follow your instincts. Let your breath stay mobile. So we're not holding, not guarding the breath in any way. And then stretch down to a child's pose and walk the hands out in front of you and let your shoulders start to stretch open. We'll walk our hands to one side of the mat, so we're stretching through your lats, your shoulders, your ribs, breathing deeply. Come back to center, over to the other side. Feeling some release of your hip down toward your heels. Notice the flow of your breath. And come back to center, up onto all fours. Let's find our movement here, reaching one arm up in the air, and we'll find a twist. Drop that shoulder down and start to feel how, even though we're restricted and twisting, the breath is still moving. All right, then reach that arm back up in the air, eye to the sky, hand down onto the ground. We'll switch sides, arm up. Give your wrists some movement if you'd like. Drop that shoulder down. Gaze toward the ground, let your head be neutral. Keep your neck in soft place. Big breaths. Come out of there a little bit. Just see what it feels like to have a sense of width across your chest. And then we'll inhale and reach that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. Find your way to a dog pose. All right, so take a little time, pedal your feet, feel your way here. Dropping one heel, feeling some freedom in your hamstrings. Open up the backs of your legs. Finding a fullness of your breath. Ground through your hands, ground through your feet. And then walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana, forward fold. How is your breathing? Let's do a few half lifts with breath here. Inhale, lengthen upward, heart expansive, sit bones high. Exhale, melt and fold. Feel the breath movement. Halfway lift. Exhale and release. Let's do that one more time. The full breath in, sit bones high. And then an exhale to melt and fold. Push through your feet, rising up, bring the arms to the sky, extend and lengthen here. Open up, and let's cactus. Open the chest, spread your wings, squeeze the back body a little bit. And then exhale and round in. Bring your hands to your heart. Full breath here. When you feel ready, lift your arms upward and experience a little bit of a back bend here. Just expand the heart open, spread your hands a little bit wider, and just imagine that you're offering yourself upward, outward, in all directions. See if you can sense that feeling of freedom that the offering gives. Generosity brings lots and lots of freedom. And then exhale and float forward. Relax your head. A halfway lift, open up again through the back body. Exhale, surrender. Back to a dog. Take your long spine for a big long ride. So push through the ground, lengthen, and breathe. Maybe you want some more pedaling in your feet. Maybe you're ready for stillness. Just kind of find what's right for you. Come forward into a plank. Shoulders over your wrists. Feel that integrity in the body. All right, let's turn our navel to the right. Chest faces the floor, getting a little churning in the belly. Back to center, going the other way. Back to center. Let's find the ground. Feet or knees down first if you need it. Roll those shoulders. Inhale, cobra. Open-hearted pose. Exhale down. Again, repeating. Open up through your chest. Open up through your front spine. Exhale and relax. Bring your right arm in front of you and reach back to grab your left foot and just enjoy a little bit of a quad stretch here. Lengthening your whole femur bone. See if you can get that nice quality of stretch across your entire quad. Stay low with your torso. You don't have to tweak your back at all. And then release that. Let's switch sides. Grab onto your other foot. Enjoy your quad stretch. You can keep your head on your forearm or pick it up a little bit, but stay low with your torso. Reach your whole femur bone long. Pelvis is stable. Open up the whole quad. See if you can get all the fibers of your quads to feel that nice stretch feeling. And then relax and release that. Come up onto all fours. Move your spine around. Go ahead and bring your right foot forward. Come to a lunge. Stretch into those hip flexors. Lift up both arms to the sky. The back knee stays down. Can you feel that feeling of open-heartedness here? We're close to the ground, so feel it. Feel that you're supported, that you're grounded, and that you can rise up. And we'll take our forearm or our elbow or hand on the knee for a twist. Open through your chest. Try not to collapse through your heart, but broaden and expand. And release those hands down to the ground. Let's pick up your back knee. Have a couple of passes of bending and straightening through the front foot. Or front knee, I should say. And then turn sideways on your mat. Drop into a deep squat. Just let the inner thighs open up a little bit. A little rocking left and right. And get your weight to distribute from one foot to the other. And then even that out and open up your inner thighs. Find your breath again. And then turn back to the front of your mat. Right foot's in front. Ground yourself. Inhale, rise up, crescent lunge, arms upward, and take your arms, maybe instead of straight up, bring them a little bit wider and fill your basket. Lift your heart. And hands down, walk the back foot forward and fold. Expand through your heart one more time, half lift. And then we'll exhale, melt, fold again, step your right foot back, come to a lunge. Okay, place that knee down onto the ground. Enjoy the deep lunge here. So maybe even inch your toes a little bit forward to stretch open into those hip flexors. Press through your feet, rising up. Maybe the hands a little bit wider, so you just feel that like you're holding a lot, that it's very generous. There's nothing narrow about your energy field here. You're expansive. Press into the foot, press into the back knee. Feel that stability of your legs and let the breath guide you. When you're ready, cross into a twist. Your elbow, your forearm, or your hand. Open up through your heart. Try not to collapse toward the ground. Hug to the midline, press into the earth so the spine has some space. Fill and empty your breath. And release. Bring your hands back to the neutral place. Curl your toes under, lift that back knee up off the ground. Hands on blocks if you'd like, and we'll flow. Straightening through the front leg, relaxing here. Bending, keeping the hips square as you move your legs. All right, ground into your feet. Push down, rise up. Bring the arms upward. One more time. Maybe you have your hands even wider, so you just feel expansive, that it's not just an upward energy, but an outward energy too. Full breath in, full breath away. And we'll release our hands down back to a dog pose. Feel that extension in your body one more time. Big breath in, big breath out. We're staying in the flow of our breath. Come forward into a plank on the in-breath and then lower on the exhale. Inhale, cobra again. Exhale, release to come down. Come up onto all fours, give your spine some movement. Back to a child's pose when you're ready and feel your back open up. Let's bring our right foot forward. Come to a lunge, pick your back knee up, drop your back heel into the ground. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1, arms to the sky, back heel down. Start with your hands straight up and together, and then open things up without compressing the low back. Stay in that long spine as you open your hands up. Big breaths. Turn sideways on your mat for a big wide standing star. Finding breath. Knit the ribs in, try not to push into a back bend here. Heel toe your feet a little bit closer if you need, and we'll come down to a goddess pose. Let's move here. Inhale, rising. Exhale, dropping. See if you can feel the energy flow through you as you do this. Any depth you want, any arm positions that you want. Find your breath. Find the pranic movement in your body. All right, standing star. And we'll come down and hold the goddess pose for a moment. So it doesn't matter how deep into the squat you go. Go where you're self-sustaining and you can lift the heart. Open the chest. Keep breathing. Notice the symmetry in your body. Trace down through the midline. Feel that your legs and pelvis are doing equal measure effort. Full breath in. Long breath out. Nothing held. And arms, legs straighten. Standing star. Turn back to the front of your mat for a dog pose. Nice and long here. Full breaths. We'll bring our left foot in front. Drop your right heel down to the ground. Virabhadrasana 1 on this side. Arms up. Both heels are down on the ground now. So even though our pelvis is no longer symmetrical, can you feel even effort in your legs? Ground. Rise up, bring your pelvis or bring your spine out of your pelvis. And then open your arms up if it feels good. If it makes you sink into your back, keep your arms higher. Melting the base of your skull. And then we'll bring our back foot forward and come to Uttanasana. A halfway lift, opening up through the heart. Again to melt. Back to a dog. Long spine here. Full breaths. Come forward into a plank. Put your knees down, lower to the earth. Take your hands next to you, palms facing down. Inhale, come on up to a super person pose with our arms back, palms down. Heads of the arm bones lifting, move your breath. Let that pranic flow in your body happen. All right, and then relax, put your head on your hands, pick up your feet, and rock them left and right. Let's bring our left knee high up toward our armpit. Move your blocks out of the way. Take a look at your knee. Just enjoy the stretch in your hip and in your back. Then we'll find our way to a twist. So right arm comes underneath you and roll open. Enjoy the twist. So good for our internal organs, for our spine, for our breathing. Also enjoy the chest broadening pose, all the stretch across your pecs. Can your head stay heavy and relaxed on the ground? And then rolling back to center, switching sides. Our right knee comes up toward our chest. Just let that stretch open for a moment. Find your breathing. And then we'll cross the left arm underneath and twist open. A big breath here. Full inhale, full exhale. And then let's rock back onto our fronts. Come up on tall fours. Let's move the spine. Wag your tail. Do some circles, whatever feels nice. Lift up to a dog pose again, full extension. Notice your back. See if you can ease it up. Take a little movement if you'd like. Walk your feet forward. Uttanasana again. A halfway lift, opening up through the spine. Exhale and relax. Push through the feet, rising up. Tracing down through the center. Notice the pranic flow. As the movement happens, as the breath happens, notice flow. Drop into your right foot. As we come into the steady balance pose, dancer pose, try not to be stuck. So when we pick up and grab that foot and you start to feel the challenge of balance, notice if your tendency is to hold your breath or to harden your eyes or to grip somewhere in your body. Stabilize, use your strength to stabilize, but stay in the flow state. Move your breath. Lift that right arm up. Start to tip forward only to the place. Now you could tip just the teeniest bit. You could also have your hand in front of you on a wall so that you have some support in this pose. So find what's right for you. Breathing deeply. Core is engaged. And then we'll come all the way back up. Bring your knee up in the air. Arms lift. And then we'll place that foot down onto the ground. Switching sides, grabbing onto your right foot, stabilizing on your left. Even though balance poses are challenging and we want, we have a tendency to hoard, to grip, see if you can let go. It doesn't matter if you have balance. Stay in the state of trying, not in the state of ego attachment to the posture. Reach and extend as you start to move into the pose. Core is helping you. It's not just your hamstrings and glutes. You can be high like I am. I'm not going very deep into this pose today. Find your breath. Maybe you want to go a little deeper. Just kind of sense where your body's at. Can you keep your hips and your shoulders square? Stay in the breath. Relax the base of your skull. When you're ready, we'll stand up, bring that knee. And then place your foot down onto the ground and pause in Tadasana for a moment. And notice the joy of having your feet on the ground. And we'll do just a little bit of flow with the breath. So arms up, keep your heels down. We'll lift them up in the air in a moment. Exhale, arms down. Inhale up. Stay up now. Come up onto your tippy toes, practicing a little balance. Notice if your breath got lost. If you held it, see if you can keep it moving. Soften the gaze, relax the base of your neck. And then bring your arms out wide. And then slowly lower your heels to the ground. Moving through a vinyasa, so get the blocks out of the way. Take a deep breath in, rising, maybe a little back bend, and exhale, floating down. Inhale, halfway lift, sit bones high. Exhale to melt. Your non-dominant foot back first, dog pose. Find your breath here, and inhale and exhale. On your next breath in, we'll come forward to a plank. Lower yourself halfway, all the way, up dog, cobra, whatever works for you comes next. Inhale to the back bend. Exhale to release. Inhale, dog. Exhale, stay. Inhale, walk your feet forward. Half lift. Exhale, settling down. Push through the feet, rise up, inhale. Exhale, tracing your hands back to center. Full breath in, full breath away. We're not hoarding, we're not guarding. We're going to do another vinyasa, but we're going to add in a Virabhadrasana 1 and a chair pose in there, so it's similar to a Surya Namaskar B. Okay, take a deep breath in. Rise up. Exhale, chair pose. You can bring your hands up or down, your choice. Find your breath. Inhale here, exhale here. Inhale up onto your toes. Exhale, toes down, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and release down. Step your left foot back, right foot's in front. Vira 1. Inhale, rising up. Stay for another round of breath so you feel that rising upward on the in-breath. And let the exhale take your hands down. Inhale, dog pose. Exhale, stay. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Exhale, down. Inhale, back bend of your choice. Exhale, surrender. Inhale to a dog. Exhale, stay. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, bring your foot forward. Ground both feet. Inhale, Vira 1. Exhale, stay here. Inhale, rising, open your heart. Exhale, hands down, back foot forward. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, squat down. Inhale for a chair. Inhale up onto your toes. Exhale, feet down. Bring your hands to your heart and keep breathing. We're going to find our way coming to the ground. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release down. Come all the way down onto your knees. Walk the hands forward, puppy pose. Drop your chest, but try not to collapse. Hips stay high. Walk your hands back underneath you. Take your knees wide, wide, wide. You might want to turn sideways on your mat. And just come into, kind of like frog pose, but where you can just go as wide as you want with your knees. Okay, so just letting those inner thighs feel balanced or symmetrical. Feeling a sense of open through your hip joints, your inner thighs. You can rock a little bit forward and back if you slowly want to try that. You can just keep moving your hips back toward the heels. See what feels good. Try not to hoard the breath. We're still breathing. We'll come out of there and come to rest on your back. Bring your knees into your chest, nice and gentle with your hips. Maybe a little bit of movements, rocking left and right. Put your feet down, shift your hips over to the right, knees come back up and drop them left. Feel free to straighten the top leg and grab your big toe if you'd like. Feel free to keep the twist as it is. Notice the breath. So of course your spine is twisting, but see if you can pay attention to how your breathing is. All right, come back to neutral. Shift your hips the other way. Bring your knees up, drop them to the side, open up your breath. Pay attention to how your body is breathing. Feel free to straighten the top leg if you'd like. You don't have to. And then we'll come back. Neutral territory again. Okay. Maybe pick up your hips, give your hips a little shake. Hips come back down, draw your knees in, a little rocking. Maybe you'd like to do a happy baby. Maybe you'd like to just have your knees in. Whatever feels good. And then we're going to take a little time to set up for our Supta Baddha Konasana. And if you have props and you'd like to do this with lots of props, you can do this with props. If you do only have blocks, then you can stick a block underneath each thigh. I'm going to do it the very traditional way. So one block low, one block middle height underneath my bolster. So that I have, some height underneath me. And then I'm going to take a blanket, a folded blanket underneath each knee. So I'm doing the variation of Supta Baddha Konasana that's very supported. But you could be flat on the ground without a lot of support if that's what you feel like doing for today. Okay, so whatever feels good. Find your way into a Supta Baddha Konasana. We've done a lot of stretching open through the hips. You don't need to do that in this pose. The work has been done, and now we get to just rest within the spaciousness, the generosity of the open hips. So depending on how you like this pose, maybe you're a minimalist and you're on the ground, maybe you're a maximalist and you've got every prop you own out. So it doesn't matter. However you feel best in this pose. Once you get comfortable, make sure that you feel supported in whatever way you need, and then melt into that support. See if you can enjoy your breathing body. Feel that all of your chakras can breathe, that you have breath flowing through you, that you're not static. Even though you're still, there's dynamic pranic flow within you. Let the breath move. Notice if your breath got still. See if you can keep the movement of your breath. Concentrate on it. Letting the body and mind rest in the movement of the breath. And remember, for Shavasana, you can stay here if you'd like. You can transition to Shavasana in any way that you want. So choose how you like to be. Maybe you like to be on your back with a bolster under your knees. Maybe you like to stay right where you are. If there's anything that your body needs support with, do what you need. And take a moment to enjoy setting yourself into Shavasana. When you get comfortable again, let your limbs dissolve and melt. There's nothing to hoard or hold on to. Feel the generosity of your breath. All this energy that you need just comes freely to you. Begin to deepen our breathing. And stretch your body in any way that feels good. And we'll find our way coming onto your side, taking your time. Pause for your breath. As you come to an upright seat, let's take a moment to lift the heart to feel that you can be open, that we don't have to collapse and surrender and sink into ourselves, that we can be spacious, we can offer ourselves freely, we can allow ourselves to be in the flow. Bring your hands together and let's offer our energy, just this beautiful gift of reciprocity we receive from our practice and then we give. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Let's see.